Hello, everyone. Pastor George here today with our Tuesday Theolog. Last week, just about a week ago, exactly, maybe a little less than that, it was announced that Bill Cosby was released from prison on the orders of the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania due to a violation of his rights. And that kind of set off a firestorm. And I thought that this would be a good time to talk about justice, not only like in our normal everyday system, but also within the Christian vision. So, of course, Bill Cosby, as you know, maybe you don't know, and now I'm going to ruin Fat Albert for you, I guess. He was convicted a few years ago during the Me Too whole thing of giving drugs to women, and like drugging women and raping them, essentially, right? Very bad and cruel and awful and sinful and terrible. Okay, bad. Uh, but what ended up happening is he was freed based on a violation of his right to due process, which we all as American citizens have, right? Because he actually admitted to doing this back in 2005 in a civil deposition, which is something that the Pennsylvania prosecutor at the time went after him for, because they knew he was doing this back then, but they didn't have enough evidence. And one of the ways that you can at least get someone to pay for their crimes in some way, but maybe not be able to take them to a criminal trial, is to have a civil deposition. And so the prosecutor ended up promising him that he would not face criminal charges for these things if he basically said that he did this. And so he said that he did this and admitted to it, right? I'm not quite sure exactly what happened in regards to that fine or something. I don't know. And then, of course, it comes up years later, and the new prosecutor throws out the old agreement and prosecutes him, right? Which is bad. That's a violation of due process, because once you have kind of admitted to that, and once it's been agreed upon by the enforced authorities that they're not going to go after you, you can't just renege that and go after someone. Just to let you know how this affects normal life, because this is a very uh, not typical situation, is if you have a criminal trial for a mobster, for instance, right? We're in New Jersey. We know how this works. Well, one of the ways they're usually able to get the mobster or the head of the mob or whatever is because people below him are willing to testify against him in order to get immunity, right? That's how we're able to persuade people to testify against other people, is the prosecutor will offer immunity to the witness to protect them from being incriminating themselves, right? So even though it might be another mobster who's killed people, they're still there to be able to be like, oh, I saw him do it or whatever, so they can get them, right? And so that's basically what they did with Bill Cosby, and it ends up that they violated their agreement, and so he was freed on the technicality of the law, which is important. Now the question is, and where we get into biblical justice, is Cosby morally allowed to go free? And of course, that should be a no. But the law in the United States and laws in general aren't considering the whole of morality when they do things, right? All laws are inherently moral, but it's just not, they're not there to enforce morality necessarily when it comes to what is right and what is wrong in these legal technical type of things, right? It's not there just to do what everyone thinks is right at the time. It's supposed to be enforceable in all circumstances and things like that, right? So that's what kind of happened. Now, but what the Christian answer to this type of thing is, and why I think justice is so important, although it gets so obscure today, and why justice in the Bible is so important, is that God puts governments in charge, right, to carry out these things. And a lot of the times our laws work to these moral ends, right? I would say the vast majority of laws in the United States work very well towards moral ends. But sometimes, based on technicalities, based on other things, people who are guilty of these things can even go free because the law has to be applied equally to everyone. Well, the thing about Christianity and the justice that we preach is that one can never run from justice, right? Even if you are acquitted by the Supreme Court of the United States, if you've still done something wrong, God will know that and God will bring punishment, right? We as Christians believe that all sin it deserves the punishment of death, right? And so God is right to punish people. This is why the concept of hell is very important. I know a lot of people don't really like it, but hell is a very important concept because hell reminds us that justice is real, right? If everyone just goes to heaven, one of the weakest parts of that is, it's easy for us to picture people we like going there, but like the people that we don't like, and I'm not talking about people in your office or whatever, but like real monsters of history being there because they get there just because God loves everyone is not it's not biblically true because God punishes sin. But even if we're discounting what the Bible has to say, it just kills the idea of justice because those who do bad things aren't ultimately punished for them. They're ultimately rewarded just like everyone else, and that's clearly not within the God of the Bible's purview when it comes to meting out justice. So morally, it's sad and it's thing, but it's not. It's just part of the way our system works. And I guess you could say we should get rid of that, but you'd lose a lot of other things in the process. So it's a complicated issue. But ultimately, I think we as Christians can take solace in the fact that even though things might not work out justly within our lifetime, or we might see justice miscarried in some way, God remembers these things, and God will mete out His justice well. So I just think that is an important thing to remember today. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Bible study. Peace out.